Good afternoon. My name is Nick Gaeta. I'm the president and CEO of Lexia Learning.
And I'm Bob McCabe, Lexia's Chief Education Officer.
And I think I need something to stand on up here. So,
and I don't. I'm the only person whose head is actually in the screen, isn't it?
Lexia helps students master their foundational reading skills. I think you've heard over the past few days a lot about the statistics in education, in math, and in reading. For us, those statistics are really alarming. 2/3 of fourth grade students are reading below a basic level. And teachers simply don't have the resources to personalize education for every student. Testing is incredibly expensive and time-consuming. And things are changing. The Common Core standards are going to change how schools think about curriculum. And there's a real shift going on toward adaptive learning.
Here, switch sides with me, Nick, and I won't be blinded. Coming in July, Lexia Reading is going to release a program called Lexia Reading Core 5. It will, upon release, be the most comprehensive reading program ever built and available for schools and students. It'll cover the entire scope of the reading sequence from pre-K through 5th grade, which when you stop and think about it is a remarkable span from not knowing your letters to reading paragraph level complicated text. And it will have within it a feature we call assessment without testing that I'll talk about a little bit more in a moment. But essentially it's the ability to assess student performance without giving them a test as they engage the scope and sequence. We were fortunate in 2010 when we set about designing the program to have the Common Core standards in hand. So we were able to build our scope and sequence specific to the Common Core standards in a very deliberate and carefully thought out way.
Over the past 12 months, we've had 1.6 million students working in the program and a 90% renewal rate from our customers. That really speaks to the value that schools and students are getting from the software. We're about to see a dramatic increase in our growth, and that's for a few reasons. One is we're launching the new program that Bob just mentioned this summer. We're also focused on rapidly expanding our sales channel and driving awareness of our program to support that channel. And lastly, we've made the move, as many people have here, to subscription pricing, giving schools the ability to pay for the programs that they need given the budget environment we're in.
I mentioned assessment without testing, and this is an extraordinary derivative benefit of being an online program. In 2007, we went to an online architecture where students using our program, all of their data was hosted by us in a central server. That allowed us to take that data, analyze it, aggregate it, and essentially do a norming study that allowed us to look at the scope and sequence and determine by grade and by month where should a student be if they are in fact going to be at benchmark at the end of that year, whether it's 1st grade, kindergarten, 3rd grade, or in the case of the new program as high up as 5th grade. It's a patent pending model, and we know from last year's data that we're extremely accurate. So for example, we know last year that for students in September that engaged our scope and sequence, if we identified them as on level and low risk, 89% reached school grade benchmark by the end of the year. So we're seeing extremely reliable data coming out of that, again, without a test. Further, this allows us to predict a student's likely trajectory in reading from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And that prediction drives a function we call prescription, which is that if you leave this student as they are to their own devices, the likelihood of them reaching benchmark will have a specific percentage value. We can look at that value, predict, and then prescribe the intensity of instructional intervention to have that student reading on grade level by the end of the year. And that prescription is bolstered by the fact that we have integrated instructional materials in the program, so a teacher can look at a class page report, see who's at risk, see who has the highest level of risk, see specifically what skills they're struggling with, open a PDF lesson specific to that individual or group of students, and deliver that lesson on the spot in real time.
So our customers are spread throughout this country. We're in about 40% of the districts nationwide. In the top districts, the top 100, we have a footprint in about 90% of those districts.
We have one of the most research-proven programs in the country. We have peer-reviewed, published articles in refereed independent reading journals, 7 different articles in all, and it represents essentially 10 years of outcome studies work that we've been doing in public schools around the country. It's formed the foundation for our ability to design the program scope and sequence going forward, and it's served to buttress it's the bulwark of the data that is reviewed when you look at independent organizations like What Works, looking at our program and doing objective evaluations of the research and the outcomes.
So I think many of you are aware of the catalysts in the market right now. A need for adaptive curriculum, formative assessments that don't require the heavy lifting that schools currently have to provide. The Common Core state standards, the accountability and efficacy that programs need to have, and then lastly, mobile technology, which is really changing the game. Lexia is poised to take advantage of all of those market catalysts. We are the broadest, most comprehensive technology-based reading program on the market. We're the only program that, as Bob mentioned, that can provide true norm reference assessment quality data without giving students a test. We began the development of this program just as the Common Core state standards became understood, so built from the ground up. It's also a program that is unparalleled in terms of the efficacy and the proof of efficacy. And then lastly, we're going to be the first program, the first comprehensive reading program available on the iPad this summer.
So when you take the whole picture and you distill it, at this conference, everybody's talking about disruption and innovation. Well, we've been innovating for about 5 years now using that big database of early literacy skills. And we are already disrupting the assessment and instructional model for reading in public schools. And we're going to continue to go forward doing this in ways that we're incredibly excited about. And as you can see, we already have a big footprint across the country. So right now for us, the question is how fast can we do it and who will our partners be in the long run?
Thank you.
Thank you.